Greetings and the brightest of blessings, my friends. Holistic Holly here for Tea and Tarot workshop number 2 in my Centered, Aligned and Connected Facebook group. Thank you so much to everyone who is catching the replay. If you are, let me know in the comments below. If you missed last week's, that's okay. You might want to go back to the first one where we introduced Harrow. We talked about a few misconceptions, cleared that up. We talked about intuitive tarot reading, what that is, why that differs from just learning from the book and going with the conventional meanings of each card. And we just had a little bit of a practice and a little bit of a walkthrough, and showed you how you can go about doing that. You looking at the different symbols in the cards and on all of that kind of stuff. So hello, whoever is jumping on, say hello in the comments. Hi Julie, lovely to have you here, darling. Hi Janine, I can see you've jumped on. Ellie, thank you so much for jumping on as well, guys. So remember to chuck any questions that you have in the comments below. Let me know if you have a favorite deck, what deck that is. Let me know how often you pull cards for yourself. And what you're what you're really struggling with, perhaps, in terms of reading the cards, and we can dive in and answer any of those questions for you today. So what we are going to look at today, because someone very generously, thank you Janine, sent me some ideas in my direct messages, and she suggested that we looked at the Major Arcana today, which I think is a really beautiful place to start. So, starting with the major cards, and then we'll perhaps look at the minor cards next week, and we can go through the process and all of that kind of thing, going through the tarot cards. So we looked last week at what the difference between tarot and oracle is, and we talked a little bit about what they are and how they're laid out, what makes a tarot deck, and all of that kind of stuff. Okay, so if you want to know more about that, I'm not going to dive too much into that today. Go and look at the previous video after we get done here, or perhaps go and watch it now, catch the replay of this one. But what I'm trying to do is to create a real wealth of knowledge for anyone who wants to start from the very beginning, so that they can use the cards on their own, because using tarot cards as a tool for the self to help with your personal development, spiritual development, your healing journey, your spiritual awareness, your connection to the universe, it's such a profound tool to have for your own worth, for your own growth. So that's why I think starting at the beginning, working our way through, is a really good way of doing that. So like I said, let me know any questions you have at the bottom, any cards perhaps in the Major Arcana that you struggle with. Now Julie, who is on here, has attended a few of my in-person workshops when I was doing them in Cardiff, and we worked through the Major Arcana a couple of times because there were a few blockages, I think, around the hanging man card. Was it, Julie? Can you remember? So we worked with that, we sat with that and worked through it and broke it down and looked at it symbolically, and how that could be reflective of different emotional situations in your life, what's going on in your life. And we broke it down and looked at it like that, which, it got rid of the fear, it got rid of the block. And same for other people. So, and other cards, I've helped them do the same thing with, because, as we talked about last week, a lot of people have blocks around the tarot. I think, a lot of the subconscious programming that we receive, there was a lot of negative associations with the tarot. A lot of it is probably to do with the esoteric aspects of it, the origins of it. It was banned for a while in this country a few centuries ago, and tarot cards had to be smuggled into the country from France, which I think is quite an interesting thing. But even then, they found their way into the hands of the nobility to use them, because it's such a profound gift and a profound tool to be able to use. As that direct connection to source, to receive answers, and to open up your clairvoyance and your ability to receive communication from the universe. It's not just looking at pictures on cards. It is very much, they're called divination tools, right? Because it connects you with the divine. So they're a beautiful, beautiful gift. Originally, they originated in ancient Egypt. The standard set of tarot cards, if you like, the Rider-Waite, which we are going to be looking at today, is one. I've got 4 decks laid out here that we can look at, but these are what people go to as the standard, the traditional deck. So they were made at the beginning of the 20th century. But actually, the person who created those said he was going back and using original artwork from centuries and centuries before, but they are believed to come from ancient Egypt. They are based in the Kabbalah. He used a lot of the work of the Kabbalah to help with his artwork, his archetypes, particularly for the Major Arcana. And the Kabbalah is the ancient Jewish numerology school. Okay, so in essence, to break it down into simple terms, everything in the universe can be reduced down to numbers. Each number has a very powerful meaning of its own, and numbers are actually a language. Some people believe that they have a life of their own, which the deeper you dive into numerology, the more magical and profound and insane it is. So there may be some truth to that. Everything is vibration, everything is frequency, right? So there is a lot of teachings from the ancient mystery schools that have contributed to creating the story, the narrative, the archetypes that we know today. And so looking specifically at the Major Arcana traditionally are 22 cards that depict the soul's journey from complete naivety, not knowing anything, to full spiritual enlightenment connection with the universe. And the archetypes, the characters, the symbols of nature that are depicted in these cards are reflective of where you are on your soul's journey at any one time. So I hope that that's clear and that makes some sense. I can see Des has jumped on. Hello Des, so lovely to have you here. Thank you. So we're talking about the Major Arcana today and how that can be reflective of any situation that you find yourself in on your soul's journey, your journey through life. Okay, now I've heard it said, actually, another difference between the Major Arcana and the Minor Arcana, which are the suit cards, for those of you who are unfamiliar, also known as pip cards. The Major Arcana are to do with where you are on your spiritual journey. So they're not necessarily situations and things that you can change, that you just have to work your way through. Whereas with the minor cards, the suit cards, they are situations that you very much have control over and influence over, that you can change in any given moment, depending on what your thought processes are, what you're focusing on, what your attitude, your mindset is. And what you are willing to let go of and release, and what you're willing to focus on within your own life. So does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense, my friends. Give me some hearts, give me some thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if this is making sense to you. Hello, Janine. Yes, the Hangman and the Tower. The Tower is an interesting one. Janine is probably laughing out loud right now. We are going to work our way through them all today, hopefully. Without taking 4 hours to do so. So it's 22 cards. We're gonna kind of like I said, I've got 4 decks here, so we're going to look at different versions of the same card to show you how they are very similar but also very different. Now, one thing that I mentioned last week is that if you are working intuitively, a different card, the same card for different people could mean very different things. Okay, and that's why I don't hold with using the book alongside when you are doing readings, because it can really what what could take, you could do an hour's worth of writing and reading on one card if you meditate and dive into that. Whereas often the books are very small, literally a couple of sentences. And so if what you're feeling and what you're getting, what you're connecting with is that from that card, or what's standing out to you, what is catching your eye from that card, it's not going to be reflective in those 2 or 3 sentences, and it can really make you feel it can really knock your confidence with regards to how you're how you're intuiting, how you're channeling, what is coming through from that card with you. This is about feeling, being inspired, seeing what is catching your eye within these cards, okay? And not going with the textbook meanings for each. And for that reason, and how I often work in my physical workshops is that the person draws a card and then we'll hand it around the group, each person reading what they're picking up from that card. And I find it so interesting to see that although we're all looking at the same thing, we feel different things catch our eye, different things really stand out and impress themselves upon us, that we have to articulate them and express what it is that we're getting. So I hope that makes sense. I feel like I'm stumbling over my words a bit here today, so I'm just going to have a drink of water. So are we all ready? Give me some hearts, let me know. Have you got your major cards separated from your deck so you can work along with me today? No worries if you haven't, but it might be nice for you to see your version of the cards, so when you work with them yourself, you've got a bit more of an insight. Now, as some of you already know, I learnt tarot through using it intuitively, through sitting in a mediumship development circle with my cards in tow, and developed my clairvoyant, my mediumship abilities through using the cards, which is possible for all of us. So I never learned the textbook meanings behind each card. So what I've got here, I've got several of my massive esoteric hidden knowledge books here. Some of them are fantastic. I've got some of them look quite scary, so I'm not going to show you. But this is a really great book. Look at the size of this beast, this beauty. Now I know it's back to front because I've got it on selfie mode, but this is the Encyclopedia of the Psychic World. It's extraordinary. It's really, really good, and it gives some really, really great definitions if you want like just simple overview knowledge of different subjects from the psychic realm of understanding. So what I've got is this page in front of me here, so we can have a look in a sentence what they say the cards mean, okay? And then we will look at the symbolism, things that are contained within. So, like I said, beginning with the Fool, working our way through the Major Arcana is the evolution of the spirit. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the conventional Rider-Waite. Okay, so here we have, I've got them upside down. I have put them all in order, but they're all upside down a moment, so let me turn them over. So we're starting with the Fool, which is actually card 0 of the tarot. So this is the traditional Rider-Waite version that we discussed earlier. A little bit more colourful than the actual traditional Rider-Waite, because obviously they were very washed out. So we have the Fool here. Now, according to the Psychic Encyclopedia, the Fool is a jester figure, sometimes shown beginning a journey and accompanied by a dog, representing impulse, birth, and youth. Okay, so for me, this is always about someone who is embarking on the beginning of something. It's a new beginning. They are not looking where they're going. So this is about taking a leap of faith. It's about trusting that the universe is going to catch you almost. Because you can see, if you look carefully, he's about to walk off the edge of a cliff. Now, he's got his little dog companion. Sometimes he is seen like nipping at his heel, trying to keep him grounded and pull him back down to earth. But you can see here, he's got his bags packed and he's ready to go. Okay, so there's mountains behind him. Perhaps there's struggles and things behind him. And the sun is shining down on him though. Right. excuse me a moment. These comments haven't been coming through. I've just swiped sideways and it's come. I have the good tower on my little deck. No name, but lovely. The tower, amazing. Hi Holly. Hi Nicole. Judy says makes sense. Thank you. Thank you. You have that book. Amazing. Amazing. That's lovely. I'm going to have to keep swiping from time to time, I think, to make sure that I'm seeing all the comments. So thank you, ladies. Right, so the Fool. Okay, so he's got a lovely little white rose in his hand. So, you know, he sees the beauty in life, acknowledges the beauty in life, but he's looking up to the sky. He's searching for more. He's reaching for more. So here we have the Connolly Tarot. So you can see a similar depiction. It's a man off on a journey. He's got his wand there, a wooden staff, which is symbolic of a journey, if you know the other cards. And he's got a dog with him as well, and he's looking to see which way to go. So he's look, it looks like the White Cliffs of Dover behind him there. But he's kind of looking, no, I'm going to go this way, I think. So he's embarking on a journey. Now, what stands out to me in both of these cards, they've both got yellow trousers on, right? And so that's you know, about acting joyfully, fancy-free, no worries in the world. Because they're moving forward with the colour yellow. Yellow is the colour of, you know, the sun, the solar plexus. So it's about joy. So, you know, so they're moving forward with joy on their journey, knowing that they're embarking on a new journey. He's wearing a purple jacket here, so spirit are perhaps walking with him, helping him, guiding him forward a little bit. Okay, I love his dog. Beautiful. So, and the pathway here is purple. So where he's, you know, walking off a cliff onto nothing, but trusting perhaps that spirit are going to catch him, this guy's walking on a purple path, which purple is a very spiritual colour as well. So that can be symbolic of a spiritual pathway or being supported by spirit on the journey forward. So here we have the Cosmic Tarot. So again, we've got more of the jester character, the more traditional. So if we look here now, so this guy, again, he's leaping off a cliff. He's floating off into the air. He's got his dog with him as well. But also what I'm drawn to here is that he has these, it's like his aura is filled with light. So, and the sun is very prevalent in these cards as well. So this is like a light shining down, illuminating his pathway, guiding him forward perhaps. Okay, so there's similarities you can see here. Now here, as we talked about the spiritual path being the purple path forward, leaping into thin air, here we also have, you can see if you're drawn to the bottom, there's crystals here, and also some flowers. So again, there's connotations here of the beginning of a spiritual journey taking place, okay? And, you know, I'm drawn as well, my eye is drawn to the cosmic aspect at the top of this card, the stars in the sky. So this is, again, that divine energy coming down, connecting him, helping him walk forward on his journey, okay? So how is this resonating with people? How is it different to what your cards look like, perhaps? Here, this is my favourite deck of all time. It's absolutely stunning. It's called Legacy of the Divine. No doubt you have all seen this before if you've been watching my videos for any amount of time. So this is someone even more cosmic, not just lifting off the edge of a mountain, but lifting off into space. And he is definitely, his little dog companion there is helping him keep his feet on the ground. You know, he's got red and purple clothes on, so this is about strength. It's about confidence to leap off into thin air. You've got that purple colour intertwining there, which is showing that he's being spiritually supported. Now, actually, these cards floating up here are the other cards of the Major Arcana. So it's showing that actually he can reach for whatever he wants to on his journey, and he can connect with that. So does that make sense? Does that make sense? Very simply put, you can see how all the different cards look different, but have similar themes and have similar messages. So how is that landing with you guys? Do let me know. So Janine sent me some photographs of her cards. Yes, they are very different, and there's so many different decks. You know, more decks than you could possibly count. So yeah, that's a little look at the Fool. So moving forward now to the Magician. And now the Magician is an interesting character. I'm glad it makes sense. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Janine. The Magician next is a very interesting character and is depicted very differently in different cards. So rather than going so deep into them, we're just going to have a little look and compare. Okay, so loving the similarities, actually. So here we have the Magician from the Rider-Waite. And here you can see you've got the symbols from all the different suits on the table. So you've got Wands, Pentacles, Cups and Swords. You've got red roses, white flowers. You've got the infinity symbol above his head there. So this is very much about connection with the divine, about, you know, really channeling down the light, having all the different tools that you need. It's about empowerment a lot, and power through knowledge and through understanding, and knowing that you have the tools that you need to move forward. Similarly, so you can see here, again, very similar but slightly different. This guy's got a little bit more sass to him, a little bit sassier. Okay, and again, very confident. You can see with these, it's lovely actually. I do love cards where there's more facial expression, more details in the face, because that really can be very relevant to the situation that you find the person in that you're reading for, whether it's for yourself. Now, the Magician is often someone who's quite egotistical, not saying, you know, that's why he's the, you know, card number 1. That's why he's the second card of the Major Arcana, because ego is something that we need to shed along the way, right? And so, you know, and ego isn't a bad thing entirely, you know, but you know, we need to be humble, right? It's a really important aspect to be humble. So, you know, he's drawing in the light, bringing in the light. He has many gifts and tools at his disposal. Okay, so here we have, again, a different depiction of the Magician. This is from the Cosmic Tarot. Now look at this, channeling down this divine light. So the infinity symbol above their heads is representing the connection to the infinite. Okay, so does this make sense, everyone? Oh, hi, Katrin. Lovely to have you on here. So again, you can see the similarities, all the different suits represented. You have the red rose, the white flower. So this is to do with growth. It's to do with the divine feminine and the masculine, and perhaps a reflection that you need to really incubate or work on. The divine feminine rising, the Shakti rising within you. If this card is drawn for you, it's like, yes, you have your tools, but perhaps you're thinking too logically, because the masculine energy of the card, you know, you have the masculine and the feminine in all aspects, everything, and I don't mean male and female, but everything has the masculine and feminine duality energy, you know, within us all, within all things. Okay, so this is so this perhaps might be that, you know, you're working too much with the logical, the practical side of things, and you need to cultivate more of a feminine, softly nurturing, intuitive, creative approach to things, perhaps. But yeah, definitely, I often see, if I see a crown or a headband or anything, perhaps flowers or anything around anyone's head in a card, to me it goes to that they're being inspired, that images, information, inspiration is being planted in their mind. Okay, so he is very much connected with source and is aware that he's channeling that, and he sees the divine in all things. Now, again, slightly different to the traditional, but here we have the Magician. from, again, the Legacy of the Divine deck. Now, this chap, when he comes up in a reading, similarly to the way I've said about the previous 3 magician cards, is that look how many books are behind him, look how much wisdom and knowledge he already has. So when this card comes up, I often say to people, you have all the knowledge and everything that you're looking for, you have all the knowledge and everything to get you through the situation that you find yourself in. So remember what it is you know. Stop looking externally. Remember what it is that you know that can help you with the situation. Because this guy, he's got so much going on. Again, he's got the red clothes, which is about confidence. Look, he's got the little gold stars on his hat for that connection with the divine. He's got so much power already, so many different things going on. So it's remembering to utilize the gifts that you already have. But a very, very wise character. And again, you know, different things might catch your eye during different aspects of the readings. But that's just something that you know, that stands out to me. Okay, so 2 down, only 20 to go. So let me just have a little drink of my coffee. So now we're getting to the High Priestess card. One of my absolute favourites. I'm going to say this about nearly all the cards, to be honest. But the High Priestess is one of my favourites. Oh, and I think, do you like my mug? Very appropriate. Dash of magic. Always a dash of magic. I think is very, very relevant. Okay, so the High Priestess. So, you know, that theme that I said about balancing the masculine and feminine, that's going to come up a lot, okay? Because something that I think a lot of us really need to work on within our lives. It's something that's been coming up a lot in readings that I've done over the last 6 months or so. It's been a hugely common theme about balancing these energies. And so you can see here in the High Priestess card, you have obviously this lovely lady in the middle, but you have these 2 pillars here. Supporting her, propping her up. You can't, you need equal measures of both the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, and so on and so forth. Now, this one you need to go deeper into the symbolism to really get a proper look at this. I didn't actually say what the magician said in this, did I? If there's anything. Going back to the magician for a moment, sorry everyone, sometimes shown as a juggler or illusionist at a fair, sometimes playing with the symbols of the 4 suits, representing consciousness, sense of self-control, dexterity. So I kind of covered that, didn't I? It's connection to the divine, having all the different symbols and everything that you need. So the High Priestess represents women's liberation, wisdom, independence, and psychic development. So the reason for women's independence, female empowerment, is this moon symbol here. New beginnings. The moon to me is the divine feminine energy in the form of the goddess. It's very, very empowering for women. We'll talk more about that when we get to the moon card a bit later on. So this for me, it is about purity. It's about self-expression, self-communication, because of the blue that's prominent. And here you have a lot of fruits. Now, she's often shown, if I can show you my other deck here, she's often shown with a pomegranate. Now, a pomegranate is a symbol for spiritual wisdom and the seeds of success, the seeds of knowledge. And she has got loads of these around her in the background, which goes to show how much wisdom that she has, but she sits and is willing to share if you're willing to search for her. Okay, so if the card comes up to say that you are the High Priestess, it means that you're beginning to really understand and become intentional about your spiritual pathway. Okay, so here again, very similar. I love how similar these 2 decks are, and I think it's a really nice reflection. So here again, we have the crescent moon, we have her wearing blue, we have now here we have those fruits again, you see, across the bottom here. It's a beautiful warm night. She has a very similar headdress, which looks to me like the maiden mother crone, the symbol of you know, the triple goddess. But it's shows a very empowered lady here. Look, you still have these two pillars as well. A very empowered lady here, because she is wearing the blue. She sat there in a very confident posture, and to me, actually, as I look at these now, they look very similar to pine cones, and pine cones are often reflective of the pineal gland, which is our third eye. So this is definitely to do with that connection, okay? The High Priestess here, so as I said, balancing the light and the dark, the feminine and the masculine. Here, the High Priestess card, with her crescent moon that she still has here, has got the yin and the yang in the middle of her forehead, about balancing the energies. Okay, again, she's blue, which is connected with our throat chakra, to do with self-expression, communication, being able to show up for ourselves, articulate what we want to express, truly be who we are supposed to be. Again, you know, you have the alpha and the omega in the book here, so this is going back to fundamentals, you know, profound spiritual knowledge. And look, if you look through here, it's the waves of the ocean, and they're very calm and they're very kind of peaceful. And so water is often very reflective of emotions. Okay, so if you see things clairvoyantly, or if you see water in a card, look at what it's doing. Is it really choppy? Is it really wet, like massive waves? That goes to show and represent that there is a big turmoil going on in your life emotionally at the moment, whereas these waves are beginning to settle. So she's actually, you know, starting to balance her emotions, to recognize them for what they are, and you know, use those to clear and cleanse away anything that isn't serving her, perhaps. So bringing all those symbols together, we have this card here, okay? And you can probably see why, you know, with 3 cards in, why I love this deck so much. So this represents the divine feminine with the full moon, female empowerment for sure, the wisdom of a wise owl coming in. You have the beautiful, almost Taurian symbol there, which is strength and power, right? If you know any Tauruses, Taurians, you know that's true, over her third eye. So she's very empowered, very strong, very connected to her spirituality, because she has all these beams of gold coming in to create this halo around her. We still have the pillars behind, supporting, strengthening, holding up, supporting on the journey. She has the pomegranate seed, she has the scroll to show the she has accumulated so much wisdom. Okay, so much wisdom. So and again, you can keep going in and in and in. Hi Lee, lovely. Sorry, there's a big delay in the comments, so I'm not seeing everything as they're coming in. So hi Lee, thanks for being here, sweetheart. Julie says, what does the B and the J mean on the pillars in the High Priestess card? Now, I did, which one of these was that? The B and I've lost. Is that on this one? The B and the J. To be honest with you, I'm going to be perfectly frank, I don't know. Whatever it means to you, perhaps. If it stands out to you and it's relevant to you, have a look. I haven't got the book to go with the Rider-Waite deck, so I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. I mean, it could be, you know, masculine, feminine in another language. I don't know. If anyone knows, if Julie Crode catches the replay of this, she might know the answer. But yeah, have a look and see. And yeah, we could keep going and going and going. I'm not going to go too deep into every card, because we could literally be here all day. But look at how this beautifully represents all of the things that we've seen in the other cards. Okay, so now we're moving on to the Empress. Now the Empress, what does it say about the Empress? It says represents illumination, intelligence, understanding, maternity, and creativity. Fantastic. So the Empress, Queen on her throne. Again, powerful feminine energy here. If this comes up for a male, it could really be that they're embracing their divine feminine. You know, it's springtime, so it's about, you know, seeds being planted, things starting to grow, things starting to cultivate. You know, here, look, you can see again all these different flowers that are growing, so things beginning to come to fruition, perhaps. Exciting times ahead, exciting times afoot. Now in this, so she has, look, you can see, oh, can I focus it? You can see all the stars on her crown there, on her tiara, connecting her again with that divinity, that knowledge. She's outside, she's got her throne out in the open, so she's enjoying nature. She's really connecting with, you know, you've got trees there, you've got the corn growing in the foreground. And again, she's got those fruit all over her dress. So it's embracing that spiritual wisdom, that spiritual knowledge and connection. So similarly here, if I can get it to focus. Here you've got a little butterfly as well, which butterflies are symbolic of transformation, change, but also spreading your wings and flying, but also spirit being around. Often clairvoyantly, I see butterflies flying around a person if there is spirit around them. So this is like an acknowledgement of that, acknowledging that you're beginning to bloom and grow, that seeds that you have planted are going to start to take root, to start to bring you the benefit of your hard work. Okay, so moving forward here, so again a different representation of the same card. Similar things. So she's still got stars in her headdress, she's still got trees and plants and flowers all around her. She's, you know, she's got these sparkles here, so that she is connected with spirit, she is receiving communication from spirit, and she's acknowledging that, she's listening to it. Look how deep in concentration that she looks. Steph says, love this card. I know, isn't it beautiful? It's really, really lovely. I love this when it comes out for people. And so again, you can see, you know, she's wearing a beautiful blue necklace. So, and we talked about blue being associated with the throat chakra. Necklaces, again, being, you know, a symbol that can direct us towards the throat chakra. So the fact that this is such a beautiful blue necklace and it's honouring her throat chakra. Okay, so this is someone who's empowered enough to speak her own voice, being inspired with the things that she needs to speak and say out loud. Okay, so, and again, you know, there's so many different individual symbols in this card as well that we could go into, but we're not, because we're going to jump forward now. This I think is the most beautiful reflection of the Empress I've ever seen. Now, you can tell these are well-loved cards. Some of these are a little bit damaged and well used by me, but this is the Empress from my favourite deck. And you can see all the symbols of fertility, of new beginnings. There's mothers and their babies, there's eggs in the basket, there's seeds, there's flowers coming through. She's wearing flowers in her hair and her headdress. She's pregnant, look, and blowing on a dandelion, blowing the seeds out into the world. They're pregnant and pretty naked, apart from this beautiful kind of white flowing sheet that she has in front of her. And whenever I see someone naked in a card, or being happy to show off their skin and show off their body, it's reflective of someone being really empowered and believing in themselves, loving who they are, not holding anything back, you know, happy to show their truth to the world without fear of judgment. And so that's a very empowering thing. It takes a lot of strength. So all of that can be associated here as well. Again, this golden arch behind her, which is reflective of the support of spirit, of looking into the world of spirit, seeing or being guided by spirit. You know, there's also things in here that are going to reflect rapid forward movement. But again, if this card came up in a reading that you were doing, either for yourself or for someone else, there is so much in this. Just see what your eyes are guided to. if I can bring it a little closer, there's fruit, things coming to fruition, as I've already said. There's, you know, these beautiful toadstools, which are actually one of the most profound psychedelic mushrooms that you can get, and obviously, you know, they have long associations with altered states of consciousness, seeing the world in a very different way. So this could be, you know, the fact that there's a whole new world opening up of possibilities to you as you begin to look at things in a different light. You're birthing a whole new you into a new world. So that's what that could mean for you. Again, you can go deeper and deeper and deeper into each of these. So so far we've had some really nice cards. Okay, we're gonna have the Emperor coming up next. So this is a strong and masculine character. So let's hold a few of these up together. Now, so far we've had very similar colours, but these are starting to contrast against each other now, aren't they? I'm very aware I don't want to cover my mouth, in case anyone is hard of hearing and is trying to you know, lip read. I know one of my lovely followers, maybe watching this, does lip read, so I'm being conscious not to cover my mouth as I cover my mouth. Okay, so the Emperor, a strong male figure, and the Emperor, if you kind of in your mind's eye, what comes up in your mind when you think of an Emperor? And this works with all the other characters as well. You know, what comes to your mind first and foremost? Now, the Emperor is someone who I feel is very domineering, very stuck in his way of thinking, perhaps, doesn't take in external advice, you know, rules with an iron fist, as it were. Ooh, wobbling everything. So that's something to think about here. Now, it says here the Emperor is a king on his throne, representing sight, vision, realization, power, and strength. So yes, he does look like a very strong character, looking out on his domain. Again, you know, here wrapped in red is very, very powerful. He's got red around the throne here. So there's a lot of strength in this card as well. Okay. In both there are symbols of the ram, the ram's head. So again, it could be that stubbornness, that strength of ideas, that strength of thought, that intellect. Aries are very, very intelligent and have so much going on in their minds. So could be that there's a lot of thought going into plans that are about to be executed, and a lot of strength and confidence and belief in your own ideas. Let's put it that way. Okay. Now here, similar representation. Still have the ram's heads. Has a tower there behind him. Now here, we've said about the roses before being reflective of the divine feminine. So this is perhaps, you know, you're being too strong in your masculine, perhaps, again, if this card comes out for you, although obviously there are admirable traits in this card as well, but perhaps it's time to embrace some more of the feminine aspect. But yeah, beautiful cards. Also in this card as well, connections with ancient Egypt. There's the pyramids in the background. I love that. You know, the crown is so innately decorated. It's really honouring that divine connection, honouring the crown chakra. This Emperor looks a bit more stern. But again, you have that ram in the background, connected with Aries. You have those golden pillars. The eagles are often very reflective of seeing the long term, like playing the long game, seeing farther into the future, remembering to keep your eyes on the prize of what it is that you want to create, what you want to manifest, what you are working towards in life. perhaps needing, you can see there's reflections on the floor, perhaps needing some time for reflection. So much in here. So much. But again, you can see very, very similar. Now he has, I don't know if you can see the sun on his forehead. So the sun is often reflective of that strong male energy. He's got the Ankh, again, connections to ancient Egypt, which it is, again, that the masculine and the feminine shapes of being. Okay, so we've done 4 of the 22. This may have to be done in 2 parts, my friends, because I'm realizing that there is a lot in this, and we're not going through them too quickly because I have a lot to say. What can I say? I have a lot to say. Okay, so oh, Janine, you're an Aries. I had no idea. So the Hierophant. This is one that I've struggled with in the past reading. The Hierophant is someone who is like a religious scholar, a religious teacher. Let's see what it says here. It's a religious leader representing the link between God and man, spiritual discovery. So you can see that that's the case, like a religious teacher. But this, I think, is something that can be a little bit outdated. It can be a little bit alienating to people because not a lot of people are, well, okay, I take that back before it even left my mouth. People are less and less practicing religion, or, less in love with religion and becoming more spiritual. So this is where the modern reflections can be really beautiful, because actually in my deck, my favourite deck, it's not the Hierophant, actually, but they've changed it to faith, which I think is beautiful. So you still have the different connections with the different religious leaders of the different groups, because here obviously they're all very kind of Christian in their reflection, whereas here, you have people from different faiths. You have a rabbi, a priest, you have you have a Buddhist and someone from the faith of Islam there. And so this is about, faith transcends religions, and that, our thoughts and prayers are being answered, they're being listened to, and that, just trust in that divine connection. You see that gold beam of light down the middle of the card there. So, and that could be said for these. It's like, trust in what you're receiving. Here there's the white pillars, support, strength coming from behind there, believing in what you believe in, knowing that you're being supported. Same here. And yeah, I think a lot of people, they do have this aversion to religious characters, but there's a lot of gold and a lot of purple reflected in this card, so it is to do with a connection to our spirituality and trusting and having faith in the universe that we're being looked after. Similarly here, that divine connection, that divine spark, that red cloak that was around a couple of the other characters as well, to have strength, have courage. Red is the colour of our root chakra, which is connected with strength, courage, security. And so, yeah. Okay, and then, yeah, so we've done all of them. Okay, but again, you can see the red and the gold here. So trust that the gold, the divine, the colour of the divine, is going to come in and strengthen you where you need it, support you when you need it. That's the colour of the red, okay? So I'm going to have a little drink here. So, yours is called, so Julie says, mine is called Unity, but around the scholar are orbs filled with different religious symbols. And I love that. Because we are all, although we perhaps have different faiths, different belief systems, as it were, the universe, the higher power, the divine. It's all truth and love. So although some people may have some dogmatic ideas about that, you know, we are all one at the end of the day. So, you know, the fact that, you know, that card that you have, Julie, has got all the different religious symbols in it. It's like a, you know, have faith, trust in what you trust in, and know that you are being divinely supported, that your prayers are being heard, and that action is being taken on your behalf to help support you. And that's what I would say if that card came out in a reading. And understanding that, and you can see now how we're evolving through the different characters, through this narrative, through the story. Okay, so we're on nearly an hour and we've got through 5. So I was a bit I think, what's the word I'm looking for here, over enthusiastic about what I could fit into this training today. But I hope you're enjoying it. I am enjoying it, and I love diving into these cards because there's always more to learn. You can work with the same deck of cards for a decade and still see new things. I've worked with this deck for well over 10 years and I still spot new things in them every time. So has anyone got any specific cards from the Major Arcana they want us to explore and want us to look at? Next we have the Lovers, which again, different reflections of the same card. About love, I think, being blessed, people being well suited. Perhaps again that dance of the masculine and feminine within each of us. Getting those things right, learning to love ourselves. Really lovely cards. Again, you can see here being, you know, the nudity that I mentioned earlier and what that can reflect. You know, it's about willing to be truly authentic with your partner, not holding anything back. And I think that's really important. And, you know, this one I love this. Again, you know, the colours, the red, the passion, the beauty, the fact that there's the angel wings, which is quite a prevalent symbol, and these as well, the big red angel wings, and the angel wings here, is that, you know, you've been brought together for a reason perhaps, you're protective of one another. But you have, again in this card, what's the word? The gold pillars behind supporting. You also have, it's like the tree of knowledge with the snake at the bottom. So, you know, that's knowledge coming in, awareness coming in, right? And again, more symbols in these images besides. Again, it's what you see at the time, but lovers might not necessarily reflect a lover's relationship. It could be to do with the love that you need to cultivate within yourself and inside of yourself. Okay, so Janine's just sent me in a direct message her lover's card. That's beautiful. That is lovely. I really like that. You'll have to share them in the comments below, Janine, when we get off the live, so other people can see them as well. They're gorgeous. And if any of you want to do that as well, so we can have a little discussion about your cards and what stands out. So, the Chariot. Now, the Chariot is often reflective of moving full steam ahead. Again, we've got the duality, the masculine and the feminine, the light and the dark, and, you know, we have the stars coming in. So for me, the Chariot is always about strength, power, moving full steam ahead in a direction with you know, a fast pace, but being divinely guided and divinely assisted on that path. So these guys here, they've got armor on, they're very strongly protected, you know, and they have what they need to to get to where they're going. Okay. So also here, you know, you have the black horse and the white horse. So again, these themes run through each of the cards. A light being shone to guide them in the right direction. Now this is more of a female figure here with the full moon. So this is about, you know, being spiritually empowered and guided along your life path, your spiritual journey, perhaps. With mountains being behind you, turmoil being behind you, moving forward rapidly into a new phase of your life. Beautifully expressed in an image. So yeah, so we have strength is the next card. Again, more symbols of balance coming in here. So so the strength card, we are on number 8, yeah. So now this is where things are going to get a bit confusing, because things are being mixed up a bit here and put in the wrong places, which we established actually, Julie and I, before, that sometimes they do muck around with the order of things just to confuse you. So I'm glad you're loving it. Thank you so much, Julie. I'm so glad that you are enjoying it. Sometimes I worry that I talk a bit too much in terms of not allowing the information to sink in. I'm just like blah 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 blah. But I'm glad that you're enjoying, and you know, I hope that you can take some big takeaways from this. So the strength card, beautiful lady with a lion with the infinity symbol above her head. You know, if you see, you know, often at times if you see the symbol of a lion, you think of Leo. So this is about being more confident, having more belief in yourself, being more proud to reflect and show who you are, have courage and strength to do that. Know that strength is being brought to you. Perhaps you may look at the lion and see it as like a spirit animal to help protect you, a spirit guide to help protect you and guide you and give you more courage. This is definitely to do with strength, you know, coming from your connection with spirit. So now here we have for some reason, the Justice card is here as number 8. So we're going to put that to one side because that's going to get confusing. And here again, you have this lady with these beautiful animals, these beautiful cats. And you know, the color gold, the color red, the pillars again. So this is all about strength coming from spirit, coming from within you. You know, here she's very scantily clad again, and remember what I said about that, you know, the power in your vulnerability, the confidence in showing who you truly are, you know, fully showing who you are to the world. So yes, beautiful. So next we have the Hermit. Again, reflective. So in your deck, the Strength card is number 11 and Justice card is my number 8. So let's have a look. Maybe that's what they've done here. Yes, they have. They've swapped them round. Why would they do that? Just to confuse matters. So again, here, thank you for that, Julie. Here you have her, the lady with a lion, and the snake headdress on her head, the light coming from, it's the sun, but it's emanating from her crown chakra. So this is about full self-belief. And if this card comes up and people perhaps are not feeling that, it's like, say, well, you know, you should be believing in yourself, and if you're not, call in your spirit team and ask them to help give you the strength you need to take the actions that you need to take. Okay, so beautiful. Thank you for that, my love. So we'll put the Justice back in here for where it needs to be. So the Hermit card is next. Now, I love the Hermit. The Hermit is all about going into isolation for your own personal and spiritual growth and exploration and connection with your own higher self, your own spirit guides. It's beautiful. You know, we looked at the Hermit card last week, where we took a deep dive into the Cosmic Tarot version. So we'll have a look, these two together. So, you know, he's going forward on his journey. He's, I think this one is a really beautiful reflection of it, because it shows him kind of going off into the mountains. He's got a light on his staff showing that spirit are lighting the way forward for him. Staffs, wands, they are reflective of your journey, your movement forward. If you think about a staff and a wand and how you'd use them like a walking stick or a rambling stick, if you like, try and, you know, make that connection to help you remember. So yeah, it's beautiful. He's up in the mountains. He's had a very rough journey. But the light in the lantern, his spirit light, is guiding him in the right direction to help him find himself. Here, you know, he's perhaps using the wisdom that he's learned to light the way for others, perhaps. That he's had a very difficult life, difficult ordeals to go through, but isn't that an interesting truth, that the more struggles we go through in life, the more spiritually wise we become, if we choose to look at them in the right way. And so you know, here, little purple flowers growing. So purple is a colour of spirit, growth, spiritual growth, coming through from his hard journey through the mountains. Okay, same here, similar imagery, having to meander and weave his way through, but he's got here by being spirit led. Now this one is slightly different because it shows someone doing more like a yogic pose. This is more reflective of the journey inward in his, you know, he's meditating. He has the light coming down from the heavens, blasting this light into his lantern, which is just beautifully illuminated. He's got that flower opening, bird coming in, the full moon there, so you've got the balance of the sun and the moon, and you've got, actually, if you look, the Om symbol, which is the symbol for the sound of the universe, on his forehead. So he's very much in tune, going in to go out. Okay, so beautifully reflective of what the Hermit represents. Next we have the Wheel of Fortune. So this is, I can't hold all four up at the same time. So you can see, again, massive similarities between these. So for me, this is, you know, it's called the Wheel of Fortune. For me, I see it as the turning of the wheel of the year, about how nothing is consistent, everything changes, seasons change, energy changes, that, you know, that we go through cycles, nothing is linear, and so that's what comes up for me with this card. But, you know, the Wheel of Fortune, that, you know, fortune is, you know, anybody's, who's willing to go seeking towards it. So remembering that you will make progress if you just keep turning the wheel, if you keep moving forward. You know, a lot of the planetary symbols, a lot of ancient symbols from other religions in these cards. Again, you have, you know, old symbols of wisdom. You have the snake coming through here, which I see as wisdom. You know, people studying books. So it's like there's a lot of ancient wisdom to lean into and to make use of. Again, here you have the different suits being shown. So it's like different suits being shown. So different things at different times, and that we can't concentrate on making progress in every area all at once. We need to choose and decide to chip away at certain things. You can't, you know, in order to make, you know, great advances forward, you need to give something your attention and your full attention. And so here it's more of the wheel of the year. As I said, you've got the zodiac symbols around the outside. Beautifully, though, reflected is this beautiful kind of mandala, the flower of life, which is all about exponential growth, the way things grow throughout the universe and how light amplifies, energy amplifies throughout the universe, right? So isn't that a profound thing to think about? And as some of you know, as Janine knows, because we've been talking about it, I work a lot with the flower of life. And it's a profound and beautiful thing. And so this one, again, is the wheel of the year. So it's the zodiac around the outside. You know, it's saying be aware of outside influences, because you've got Mars, you've got these cosmic shapes, you've got this person trying to balance and hang on, even though, you know, it's not his time in the spotlight. So yeah, remembering to take pause when you need to pause. You need to take action when you feel energized and ready to take action. You need to spend time being creative when you need to spend time being creative. You know, you can't be all action all the time. Okay, so there we are. So we've got 10 in. We're about halfway there. I think what I'll do is I'll get to 11. I'll do one more and perhaps do another video on the rest of the Major Arcana, perhaps next week. That's probably the best plan of action. How does that sound to everybody else? Okay, I hope you're enjoying. We've got a lot less people in here today, but I think this is a bit of a more advanced class as we go in looking at the major cards. So I hope you're getting benefit from it, those of you that are here. What we can do is look at the rest of the Major Arcana next week, then go into the suits the following week, and then perhaps look at constructing questions, doing spreads, that kind of thing the week after. Let me know what you think. I'd like to get these planned out. And obviously I want to be helpful and do what it is that you guys want to know about. So let me know. Let me know, my loves. Okay, Janine says perfect, amazing. Julie says massive benefit, thank you. Oh yeah, ladies, I'm so grateful for you being here. Truly, I love sharing this knowledge, as you know. I could talk about it all day, every day, so just to have an outlet to do this in this time when I'm at home is amazing. And you know, it might be helpful for me to put courses together, things for the future. Who knows? The future is an online business, right? And as much as I love doing my in-person workshops, as you know, Julie, it's been very restricting because there's people I know all over the world that have wanted to be able to learn from me and learn the tarot, and I haven't made the time to make the videos, and I haven't made the time to do these online workshops. So you know, massive silver lining here is it's actually forcing me to do that. And you know, to see how it works and what works and ironing out the kinks. So yeah, I would love to actually explore with you guys, you know, what your preferred methods of learning are, whether you prefer this kind of face-to-face, me talking through things, walking through things, whether, you know, there would, you know, workbooks and things, if that's the kind of thing that you think would help you, would benefit from you, where you would benefit from that. Yeah, and there's so many other ways of doing it as well, so just let me know. So we're going to look at the 11th card now, which is Justice, and we're going back to that theme of balance, balancing the masculine and feminine. I'm losing my ability to speak. Hang on a moment. Okay, balancing that masculine and feminine energy. So we'll have a look at the traditionals. Now you can see how similar. So this is the original Rider-Waite. This one is called the Connolly deck. So you can see massively the similarities between the two. You have a Lady Justice, right? So you have the sword in one hand and you have the scales. Can you see in the other? So the word that's coming to my mind now is strength and fortitude, right? So this lady has a lot of courage, of confidence, because she's wearing that red. She's wearing that red. So she's got the confidence and the strength and the belief in herself. That's a strong root chakra right there. So she's empowered and confident and strong and able to stand strong. She's got the sword in one hand, which is both attack and defense. It's her ability to protect herself, protect what is right, fight when you need to fight. But it's about having things in balance, and these scales are balanced. Okay, so you have these green adds on to the red outfit. So although you have that red, that strength, that confidence, that power, you also have the green, which is reflective of the heart chakra. Okay, so although there's that power, that confidence, it's also connected with empathy and compassion and unconditional love of the heart chakra. And is that not a beautiful balance of energies right there? Absolutely there is. You can see the purple in the sky, the purple in the backdrop here. So this is a background, a backdrop of spiritual connection, which is what the purple. And again, you have these white pillars to say that spirit, although you may not be aware, spirit are there supporting you, helping you stand strong, holding everything together for you. Okay. Oh, very similar to this colour here, actually, isn't it? Oh, and I got this on. Oh, I'm Lady Justice today. So yes, so the crown there that she's wearing is about honouring that connection, honouring that divinity and that divine connection. Okay, so a different take on the same card here. You still have the scales, you still have the crown, you have the balance of the sun and the moon, the masculine and the feminine. You look, the yin and the yang. It's seeing clearly, okay, because she has these lights emanating from her eyes, a bit like Superman, bit strange, but hey ho. So again, and actually, if you look here, the balance is coming from this rose, and we've talked about roses throughout these cards that we've looked at so far today, and this is to do with our connection with the divine feminine. So although there's this very stern look on her face, like she looks very stern and very strong, and a little bit unapproachable maybe, but this divine feminine, this balance is growing up out of this divine feminine, this balance. So although she is very strong and very stern looking, she has got this nurturing, loving, creating, that unconditional love essence that comes from the divine feminine. Okay, she has got a bit of a look of Kali about her. And Kali, as some of you may know, is one of the Hindu goddesses who, although she is the mother, and one of the aspects of the mother is loving and nurturing and divine, Kali is also one of the goddesses of death. And you may have seen her depicted. She sometimes has a tongue sticking out with blood dripping down her face. She often has a necklace of human heads around her neck. So the goddess isn't all love and cuddles, and it's she's wrath and vengeance and what have you as well. So the fact that reminded me of that is like, yes, you have to be loving and you have to be gentle, but you don't have to put up with shit either, essentially. And so that is what this balance is about, again. So whatever balance means to you, whatever this conjures up for you, whatever the card conjures up for you at the time. So this, again, is another representation of that balance. Again, you have the light and the dark. These ladies trusting their intuition because their eyes are covered. You have the yin and the yang. See if I can get it in focus. Hold it in the right place. It's so hard to do this. There you go, perhaps. There you go. So again, armed with knowledge and wisdom, the scrolls there, but also the sword is so that knowledge and wisdom, and the sword there is the means of defense and attack and strength. to stand up for yourself. So this is justice. It's about doing what is right, acting in a balanced way, not overthinking or overfeeling, but actually embodying both of those to take centered, soul-centered action to do what is right in that moment. Beautiful, beautiful cards there. Okay, so that's the first half of the Major Arcana. How far in are we? We're nearly an hour and 15, so I think that's good going to walk through 11 cards of the Major Arcana. So, how have you found it, ladies? What was your favourite bit? Julie says she prefers face-to-face teaching. Really appreciate that. I think so too. Tarot's not something, I mean, you can listen to audio about tarot if you've got your own deck in front of you, but I think sometimes it's nice to look this way. I have been thinking about recording a lot of podcasts and things if people are into listening, with meditations and stuff. I think, sometimes looking face to face can be a bit distracting. I don't know what people's opinions on that, whether you prefer to have a guided meditation talk through like this with me in front of you, whether you listen to it as an audio. Let me know. So any questions on any of the cards that we've covered today, my friends, please drop them in the comments box below. And thank you so much for watching. And if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for sticking with this. I am going to hashtag it for anyone who wants to go back and look back through tarot posts. As I have said in previous videos, all these trainings that I am doing free of charge, but all donations are most gratefully received, humbly received. I'd be so grateful, but obviously no obligation whatsoever. There is a PayPal link in the description thing if you wanted to just make a donation, but absolutely no pressure whatsoever. So I think when I first worked with the tarot, the Major Arcana cards used to scare me because there is so much to understand, and you need to have that kind of analytical way of looking at the characters to understand them, to start picking those symbols apart. So I hope that the way I've articulated this today, the way I've shown you how you can go looking around the symbols in the cards, can be helpful to do that. So, Ginny says, amazing, loved it, thank you. Julie says, every card so far in my deck, I have spotted something new. Fantastic. Ginny says, huge benefit, thank you, beautiful. You're so very, very, very welcome. I have loved it. I've absolutely loved it. So, ladies, if you wanted to share in the comments below photographs of the cards that you've taken, that you've looked at today, which ones were your favourites. I love the High Priestess card, as I said, the Empress card I love. I could go through so many. So we've done the first half of the Fool's journey, the first half of the spiritual journey. We've come from the Fool embarking at the beginning, looking before he leaps, to someone who is beginning to live their life in balance, to understand the importance of the heart and the head, trusting, knowing that spiritual support and spiritual strength is behind them always, helping them block out whatever is distracting them when needs be. So we have gone from the Fool to Justice, and I'm going to do this for all of them because I love it. So we've gone from, whoa, they're slipping and sliding everywhere. From the Fool, the colours in this deck, aren't they just so vibrant? They're beautiful. We've gone from the Fool to Justice. Gorgeous. Oh, I could look at these all day. We've gone from, oh, they're just going everywhere. What have we got? The Fool. What a difference in the representations of the characters as well through these. From floating off into the sky in little bubbles of light to look at that, look at her determination, her ability to channel down that energy, to direct that energy. What a journey, what a journey. And last but not least, from the Fool, oh, it's blurry, to Justice. Okay, so sometimes it is nice to have the original cards to look at, to show you how they've evolved, how they've moved on, how different interpretations are made, but also to stop confusing you with all the extra stuff if you want to go back to the real, organic, natural, straight up symbols. Again, a card doesn't have to be complicated. If you're working intuitively, if you're using it to open up to divine clairvoyant communication, to your own intuition, to start channeling, it doesn't need to be, it could just be a piece of card with a colour on it. You know, tarot cards just have this beautiful richness to their symbolism, to their characters, that really help you to articulate what people need in that aspect of their life. And I think the more you work with them, the more articulate you become in your life when it comes to talking about emotions and situations, but also to assist you in helping others and helping walk people through their life, through their journey, particularly if you do work with helping others. And I know, Julie, you do. Janine, you do. I think, Kat, you're still on here. I know a big part of your life as well. You're such an empath, Kat, is helping others. And so working with these cards, it really helps you, articulate, your own emotions, your own feelings, things that you are picking up and receiving. It helps you communicate those in a way that they can be beneficial. It's all well and good pointing out different things in a card. Oh, look, he's got a red cloak on and he's got magic going through his hands. It's like, great, that's lovely. We can all see that. But how does that apply to the person's life? Or how does that apply to my life? And so, that's where the practice comes in, and that's where you can be real benefit if you push through and persevere. So as I said last week, getting a pen and paper out and journaling on each card as they come up for you, or even you could do this as a meditation practice, like you perhaps after today, if you wanted a bit of homework, to work throughout the week, work through the 11 cards that we've looked at today, one by one, journaling on what images stand out to you, what feelings come through for you, and really explore and get to know the cards. So when they do come up in a reading, you're not going in cold, you're not going in blind, you've got a little bit of an understanding already about what that means to you and how that feels to you. I hope that makes sense. So for some reason I have to keep just skimming back and refreshing. So Julie says, thank you so much, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for being here. It would have been a very lonely hour and a bit if I had been here by myself, so I really appreciate you guys, and I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you've taken a lot from it. If you're catching the replay, as I said, blessings, thank you so much. Let me know in the comments what you enjoyed, what your biggest takeaways were, and I look forward to catching you next week, my friends, for the second half of the Major Arcana. Love you loads and loads and loads. And if you wanted to book in for a reading, I know some of you have mentioned it in my last few lives, send me a direct message and we can get that sorted out for you. Mwah. Enjoy the rest of your day, my beloveds. Speak to you again soon. Bye for now.